Good morning, guys. It's Max Convexity. Hope everyone's having a good day. Let's review these Defiance funds and see how we finished up this past week. All right, so here we are on IWMY. These guys made $372,000 Friday. Nice job. In fact, they've only lost once this week. They lost once since this new month started. They lost $970,000. All the other times, the other 6 days, it's been big winners. These guys are up 51 cents a share on an earnings per share basis this month, which is great. These guys are absolutely killing it. The dividend estimate, which there's my new formula. Corey figured this formula out for me, and it automates a bunch of stuff. Anyway, it counts how many days have gone by in the month, and it figures out what fraction of a month has passed, so I know what multiplier to use whenever I'm trying to project something. Like, for instance, right now, IWMY has earned 36 cents of extrinsic premium per share, okay? But we haven't had a whole month. We've only had about a third of a month. So to convert this 36 cents into a month-long number, what this would be over the course of a month, we need a multiplier. I need to know what fraction of the month has already passed versus what fraction we have left. Anyway, with that multiplier, I can take that and I can do the estimate. But in any event, the estimate on this one is 102 this month for the dividend. They paid 110 last month, so it looks like volatility's come in a little bit. Let's see how these other guys are doing. So QQQY on, now these guys haven't been doing as well. These guys have had 3 losses this month, and they lost 3.7 million on Friday, and they lost 5 million on Tuesday. So these guys definitely aren't doing as well. These guys are negative 15 cents on an earnings per share basis. The dividend estimate is only at 72 cents. Last month they paid 80 cents. The month before that it was 85 cents. So right now the dividend estimate is showing the dividend should be, at this point, it could be a little bit smaller. Let's look at JEPY and see what happened with these guys. These guys lost on Friday also. They lost $618,000 on Friday. On Tuesday they lost 1.2 million. Then 10,000 the day before that. That's really nothing. But in any event, they've basically had 4 winning days, 1 tie, and 2 losing days. On an earnings per share basis, these guys are at 2 cents a share positive. So that's good news. The dividend estimate is at 56 cents right now, which is a little bit shy of where the dividend was last time. So all 3 of the dividend estimates are lining up as being a little bit less than last month. That is at this point in the month. It is pretty early to tell. On let's see what else we have here. Here's the TRES trade. Okay, so TRES, this 95.5 put, they sold this one the other day. So they reestablished that one, and then this 92.5 call expired, so they reestablished Friday at the close with the 96 call. So they sold this one for 50 cents. This one expires on the 13th. This call expires on the 13th. This put expires on the 15th. They have options expire on the 3rd, so the 13th is Wednesday, 15th is Friday. And these other ones don't expire till the 22nd. Their longs don't expire till the 22nd. If you've been watching my option strategy video where I talk about straddle strangle swaps, that's the exact same trade these guys are doing. They have 2 shorts and they have 2 longs, but they have twice as many longs. So I guess they have 2 shorts and 4 longs, if we're talking as far as units go. And it gives them a profit loss graph. For some reason this isn't, it's not showing what I want to show. In any event, we'll keep an eye on this. This trade right now is right about at the edge of the valley of death. So as far as rooting for a price, we want next week, we want the prices of TLT to be above 96, above 97. That would be ideal for these. Let's look at this. All right, here's a daily chart of the TLT. We're out of the valley of death now, but the valley of death's growing a little bit. But in any event, we want to see prices up this direction. If we keep trending up, that should be, this position should be fine. At the same token, if something bad happens and we drop way down and we go underneath the valley of death, we can also profit on lower prices. This is a long volatility spread, or it has the effect of making you long volatility where you're rooting for a volatility event. At the same time, the options that are sold short in the near week should be decaying faster than the options that you own in the far week. Even though you own twice as many options, you should still make some money off the decay too. So this trade is kind of a threading the needle type trade. It's being long and short at the same time, and it's a cool trade. I'm fascinated with straddle strangle swaps. All right, so that covers that. Let's look at on the single stocks. I'm going to cover them tonight when I do the profit boxes for Monday. I'm going to have a show tonight, and we'll look at Tesla, and we'll look at the single stocks on that show, and we'll see where they're positioned for the next week. I did want to check out the buffer report. Here's the buffer report for the week. So this goes from last Friday to this Friday. You can see Tesla, even in, of course, I added back in the dividend. All of these stocks, or all of the YOMAX ones, went ex-dividend this week. So I had to add back in the amount of the dividend to make a fair comparison. Lots of them did fine. NVIDIA outperformed NVIDIA. Lots of them were in line. Coney was in line with what you would expect. Sky was in line. But GUI outperformed the parent. A lot of these were in line, but the big underperformers were MSFY and TSLY were ones that notably underperformed the parent asset. The rest of them were what I would call in line. AIYY kind of had a rough, had a crazy week. It definitely outperformed the parent asset. Now here's one day. This is just for Friday's change. On Friday, the benchmark in this case was down 1.5%. So the Nasdaq was down 1.5%. So all of these high yield funds outperformed the parent, which is great. The one that outperformed the most was QYLD. And then after that, FEPI had big outperformance also. And the rest of these, I would say, were in line. This is what you would expect. You'd expect if the parent asset's down 1.5 to be down 1 point. That's in line. What QQQY did and JEPY did and QQQY did, those are in line with what you would expect. You're seeing the buffer. You're seeing they don't get all of the downside. The difference right here is due to the options that they sold, and the options decaying is what makes them not lose as much as the benchmark. That's the whole idea of the buffer index. You get buffer. Let's look over here. This is just Friday on single stocks. You can see boy, Misty had a heck of a day. Coney did too. Coinbase was up nearly 6%, but hell, Coney was up 2.5%. That's really good. Sky had a really nice day. Square was up 4.5%. Block, whatever it's called now. Sky was up 3.17. That's a nice performance. Here's the S&P high yield funds. Every one of them outperformed, which is good news. XYLD was the biggest outperformer. The rest of them were in line and had quite a bit of buffer, and this is what you'd expect to see. The parent asset, which in this case would be SPX, dropped 65 basis points, and the most any of these dropped was 34 basis points. These things got about half the downside. Great job, guys. This is how buffer works. This is the way it works. So we've already looked at 1 day on single stocks. Okay, well, that should be good. I think we've covered, I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. So I'll come on and do profit boxes tonight, and we'll look where the trades are for tomorrow. And I'll also talk about the new fund, SPYT, tonight, SPYT, and we'll look at where their option that they sell will probably be, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about all the other options that all these funds sell. And I'll look at Coney, and I'll look at NVIDIA, and I'll look at Tesla, and I'll look at Misty. And we'll talk about them as well. So that'll probably be tonight about 8 o'clock. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.